Hello to all my dear students. So today we are going to start with the remaining population interaction that are predation, parasitism, competition and amensalism. So today we are going to cover these 4 to 5 remaining population interaction of this chapter. So without wasting time, let's directly start with the next population interaction after mutualism and commensalism, which we have covered in our last lecture. Hope you all have gone through that lecture. Hope you all have enjoyed and understood as well. So today we are going to start with the third and important interaction, which is parasitism. Beta, parasitism is a kind of a plus-minus relationship. Why it is a kind of a plus-minus relationship? As the one organism is going to take the benefit from the another organism. As a result, the organism from whom the benefit is extracted will be at loss. So the organism who takes the benefit is known as parasite, and from the whose body parasite is taking the nutrition is known as host. So host will be at loss, whereas parasite will be at plus side. Therefore parasitism is a plus minus interaction. Basically beta, on the basis of the location of parasite, there can be two types, ectoparasite and endoparasites. Ecto means parasite growing on your body, taking the nutrition as well as the shelter, like for example body louse. Plus endoparasites, those who live inside the body, like for example your tinea solium. Those are endoparasites who resides in your intestine, takes the nutrition from the intestine, takes the shelter inside the intestine and damages your body. So host is at loss, whether it is ecto or endoparasite, and parasites are always at benefit. Chalo, let's write till here. So in parasitism, what are you going to write? The organism who takes the nutrition, the organism who extracts the benefit in the form of food or shelter or both. Correct? On depending upon that, there are again two types of parasite, partial and total parasites. So basically the organism who extracts the benefit in bracket in the form of food, shelter or both. So the organisms who extracts the benefit in the form of food, shelter or both are called as parasites. On this basis, again there are two types of parasite, total and partial. Total parasites beta वो parasites हैं who completely depends upon the host for both food and shelter. Partial are those who either depends upon food or shelter on the host but not both. And the other organism from whose body, on whose body parasite is growing is called as the host, or on whose body parasite is growing is known as host. So host is at loss, whereas parasite is benefited. Therefore parasitism is a kind of a plus minus interaction. Clear? Now depending upon the location of the parasite, as I told you, there can be two types, endoparasites and ectoparasites. Endo means those parasites who grow inside the host body. Growing inside the host. For example, I quoted one, tinea solium. Even there are so many endoparasites, all sporozoans. They are endoparasites. Yes? Then ectoparasite mein those who grow on the body of the host. Best example is your body louse. Now, parasite to live inside or on the host body, there are certain adaptations which are shown by the parasite so that it can easily take the nutrition and shelter from the host. Like for example, parasites, they don't have their own digestive system. क्या करेंगे digestive system बनाकर? उनको तो already पूरा digested food from the host body मिल ही रहा है. So parasites, they do not have digestive system. However, they have well developed hooks and suckers so that they can very tightly and compactly stick to the host body. Apart from this, they have high reproductive capacity so that inside or outside the host body, they can multiply very fast and can increase their number. On the other hand, when parasite starts growing on the host body becomes weak. क्यों weak होगी? क्योंकि host का आधा nutrition तो parasite ले जाएगा, and in that case host body age will get reduced, plus the body will become more prone to diseases and disorders. The reproductive capacity of the host will decrease in that scenario. Correct? So now let's write the next point, that is modification in the body of the parasite. Modifications of parasite. What are you going to write? Number 1, no digestive system. ज़रूरत ही नहीं है इसकी. So they don't have any digestive system, but they have well developed hooks and suckers. They have well developed hooks and suckers. Number 3, they have high reproductive capacity. They have high reproductive capacity. On the other hand, when host पे parasite grow करेगा, then due to the growth of, beta just remember, due to the growth of parasite on the body of host, so due to the growth of the parasite on the host, age of the host decreases, immunity of the host decreases, reproductive capacity of the host also decreases. Clear? I think it is very easy to understand. It's very simple and normal. अब आपकी अगर बॉडी का न्यूट्रिशन कोई और एक्सट्रैक्ट करेगा, so definitely your body will become weaker due to lack of nutrition. And if body is weaker, if immune system is weaker, your body will become more prone to diseases, and as a result age and reproduction capacity both is going to decline. Correct? There is one small concept in parasitism by the name brood parasitism. What is brood? Brooding means, beta, taking care of young ones. So cuckoo is a bird who, instead of preparing its own nest, go and gives the egg in crow's nest. Now crow is unable to identify its own egg and cuckoo's eggs. So the crow is taking care, the parent crow is taking care of both its own eggs as well as of cuckoo's egg. Cuckoo simply laid the egg, free, no work. So cuckoo's egg has now become parasitic over crow. They're taking the nutrition of the crow's egg. जो क्रो के अंडों को न्यूट्रिशन मिलना चाहिए था, now it is getting unnecessarily shared with the cuckoo's egg also. This is known as brood parasitism. Now why crow is not able to identify? Because the eggs of both cuckoo and bird are almost similar in shape, size and color. So example, cuckoo laying egg. Cuckoo laying egg in the nest of crow. So this is simply the concept of brood parasitism. I hope you all have understood this third interaction, that is parasitism. Now moving towards the next and important interaction, that is predation. Predation is also a plus minus kind of association. It is a very important association for maintaining the flow of energy. एनर्जी के फ्लो को बनाए रखने के लिए दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ प्रिडेशन इज वेरी नेसेसरी. You know, predator prey, if this is not taking place, then how the energy produced by producer will flow to consumer, will flow to decomposer, and how the cycle, how this ecosystem will function. So predation is one of the necessity of ecosystem, where a stronger organism is the predator who consumes the weaker organism and feeds on it. So that weaker organism is called as prey, and this prey-predator relationship is known as predation. So basically it is a plus-minus relationship. How plus-minus? As there are two organisms under this category, predator and prey. The stronger organism who feeds on the weaker organism, who feeds on the weaker organism. So this predator is going to be at plus, and prey is the weaker organism जिस पे predator feed करेगा. So prey will be at loss because it is going to lose its life due to predation. Right? Therefore, predation is basically a plus-minus relationship. But you know, it is very important, as it is necessary for maintaining the energy flow. So write the importance of predation. First importance of predation is to maintain energy flow in the ecosystem. Imagine अगर पेड़ों ने food बना दिया, and if herbivores are not feeding on them, then how the energy from producer will pass to herbivore. Now if carnivores are not feeding on herbivores, then how the energy will flow from herbivore to carnivore. So it's for this flow of unidirectional energy, to maintain energy flow in the ecosystem. The simple concept of predation is very important. Understood everyone? Chalo. Now moving towards the second importance of predation. Now what is the next importance of predation, beta? Tell me. The next importance of predation is it maintains the population, it maintains the species diversity. Imagine, beta, if this concept of predation is not there, if suppose carnivores are not existing in the nature, then herbivore population will explode. They are going to consume all the trees, and a time will come when all the trees are over, all the producer are over, and then herbivore will start fighting for such limited resources among themselves only. So this prey-predator relationship is very necessary, so that every organism is getting the right amount of food at the right time. Every species on this earth has their own importance. Elimination of one species from the ecosystem will affect the another species who is dependent on that due to predation. So next importance of this predation is maintaining prey and predator population in the ecosystem. Maintaining prey and predator population in ecosystem. Maintaining prey predator population in ecosystem. So these are the two main importance of this interaction. Now, one line is said that predator has to be prudent. Predator has to be wise enough in killing the prey. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए that there is one lion and there are 10 goats in the jungle. And if that lion feeds on all the 10 goats in one day, now goats are over. From there is no other source of food for the lion. Now next day what lion will eat? So due to excessive predation, lion will only has to suffer, and next day he will die due to scarcity of food. So predator has to be prudent. It should kill the prey but in a wise manner. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए that in a day predator goes and kills all the prey population and next day itself regrets. It's simply like if you're earning money today, you should not spend all the money the same day you are earning. Rather, you should save it for tomorrow also, because you don't know tomorrow what happens. You don't know if you are having money or not. Today you are earning, so save a part of your money. It should not get wasted. You should not waste all the money which you have. A part of the money should be saved so that it could be used in your bad days. So this is called as prudence. This is called as wiseness. So predator is also wise enough and prey is also wise enough. It's not like that the goat will go in front of the lion in the jungle and will say, come and eat me. Of course, it is not going to happen. Prey will always try to escape from the predator, and predator will also be wise enough in killing the prey. Now, so this is the next important line. Predators are prudent. That is wise enough during killing their prey, during feeding on prey. On the same grounds, prey also develops mechanism. Prey also develops mechanisms to overcome predation. To overcome predation. Now, what are they going to do? How will they help in overcoming the predation, beta? Simply, suppose if prey is animal, now prey can be animal as well as prey can be plants. For herbivores, prey is the plant. For carnivores, prey is the animal. If animal is the prey, then what are the different mechanisms they adopt? First, camouflaging. Second, mimicry. Third, developing chemical in their bodies. Like for example, monarch butterfly. Monarch butterfly, in order to avoid its predation, it develops a chemical, a distasteful chemical, so that if any predator will come and try to feed on monarch, so the mouth taste will become bad, and next time predator will, whenever it will see monarch butterfly, they will remember that bad taste and they will not feed on that monarch butterfly. So monarch butterfly developed that mechanism of chemical so that it can protect itself from predation. Other method is camouflaging. Camouflaging, like for example, there is chameleon. Chameleon, in order to protect itself from the predator, will take the color of the surrounding, and predator will not be able to identify. Mimicry. Sometimes mimicry, like you are mimicking an organism, either who is more dangerous. You are pretending. There's a prey, a weaker prey, but that weaker prey is pretending to be a very dangerous organism. So predator will become afraid and will just run away from the prey. It's simply the prey was actually mimicking some stronger organism to avoid the predation. So these three are the ways by which animals protect themselves from predation. Coming to plants, beta, at least if animals are not camouflaging, if they are not mimicking, if they are not developing chemical, so at least they have their own legs. If they see the predator, if the deer will see the lion coming, it will not stand. It will run away. So at least animals having legs, they can run and they can protect themselves from the predator. But what about the plants? How plants should run away after seeing the goat coming, after seeing the cow coming? Plants cannot run. So how will they protect themselves from predation? In that case, plants, they develop some chemical in their body. Like for example, calotropis. Calotropis is a plant which develop a chemical called cardiac glycoside. So that is highly dangerous. If any animal eats that calotropis and if it consumes that cardiac glycoside, then automatically that organism is going to die, because it is a kind of immune kind. It's a chemical which suppresses your immune system. It's a chemical which causes a problem in your cardiac system as well. Apart from this, plants, they also develop spines. They develop thorns. So that browsing animals should be avoided. अब कांटे अगर होंगे तो जानवर कांटों के बीच में तो जाके उसको खा के नहीं आएगा ना. Animal will move away if they will observe the thorns coming from the plants. So developing thorns, again developing chemical. Now these all chemicals like morphine, aspirin, which we consider as medicine now, plant is making for itself so that it can protect itself from predation. So plants can also protect itself from predation either by developing thorns and spines, right? And after even developing thorns and spines are not sufficient, then they also develop chemicals, right? They also develop chemicals, like for example, calotropis producing cardiac glycoside. Correct? Understood everyone? Okay, very good. So this is about predation, which you have to remember. I hope parasitism is clear. Then predation is clear. Now moving towards the next, first let's do this small topic, the smaller interaction, which is amensalism. Amensalism is simply minus and zero interaction, where one species is getting the benefit and the other, where one species is losing in the presence of another species, and that another species again clueless. For example, Penicillium notatum. Penicillium notatum is a fungus from which you obtain penicillin. Now, this penicillin is a chemical which will kill the bacteria Staphylococcus. Now, Penicillium notatum, this fungus is completely clueless. इसे पता भी नहीं है कि it is producing such a chemical which will avoid the growth of bacteria. So, bacteria in the presence of penicillin will be at loss. Penicillin will be clueless. Similarly, all the antibiotics obtained from different organisms are actually amensals for the bacteria which are growing. Correct? So, what is amensalism? When one species is at loss in the presence of another species. When one species is at loss in the presence of another species. Correct? Yes or no? Second, for example, Penicillium notatum. What is it doing? It is producing a chemical called penicillin. Now, this is producing a chemical called penicillin, which is going to kill bacteria Staphylococcus. So now this bacteria is at loss and Penicillium notatum, this is at loss, and this Penicillium notatum is neutral. इसको तो पता भी नहीं है. So this is amensalism kind of interaction. Simply you have to do only this much. Next and the last very important interaction is competition. It is the only interaction, beta, where you will see both the species are at loss. Very simple to understand. Suppose there are two girls in the class who are fighting, or two boys in a class who are fighting. Now one boy punched the other boy and broke 3 teeth. Similarly, the second boy also punched the first boy, breaking 5 teeth. Now, who won the battle? Automatically, the second boy who punched the first boy, removing the 5 teeth. But is he an absolute winner? No. Why? Because he has also lost 3 teeth. कहीं ना कहीं तो second बंदे को भी कुछ ना कुछ loss हुआ है of those 3 teeth. Maybe he might be a winner, but not a complete winner, as he has also lost something in that war. Like for example, if two countries are fighting, they're competing for maybe some water or some piece of land. They are fighting, like India and Pakistan, they are fighting over a piece of land. Now India and Pakistan, they both are sending their soldiers and army for. Now competition is taking place. Both the countries are going to fight. Both their countries' soldiers are going to fight with each other with full bravery. Some people of their country will be lost. Some people from our country will be lost. Ultimately, one of the country is going to win. But is that win will be 100% victory? No. Even the country who is winning the battle is also going to lose its men, is also going to lose its resources. So competition is always negative. One should always avoid competition, as it is the only population interaction where both the species are getting harmed. Correct? Understood this simple explanation of competition? Now let's try to understand in a technical way. Technical way क्या कहता है for competition, beta? There was a scientist called Darwin. Darwin said that competition prevails between two closely related species when the resources are limited. However, later it was observed that it is not necessary that competition should prevail between two closely related species, or the resources need to be limited. So I'll be writing this much first. Everyone write it along with me and keep reading your NCERT parallelly for this concept. So what Darwin said, क्या बोला Darwin ने बेटा? This fellow said that competition prevails between two closely related species when the resources are limited. However, it was observed that it is not 100% true. For example, two different species. Flamingos are the birds, and zooplanktons are aquatic organisms. In South American lakes, it was observed that flamingos and zooplankton, they are highly two distant species. कोई लेना देना नहीं है. One is a bird, another is an aquatic organism. They both are fighting for the same resource, which is phytoplanktons in the lake. So what Darwin said, that competition always occur in between two closely related species. But यहाँ तो closely related species नहीं है. They are highly two different species, but still they are competing for the same food, that is phytoplankton in the lake. Now zooplankton also want these phytoplankton, and visiting flamingos, the birds, when they visit the lake, they will also feed on phytoplankton. So unknowingly also these two distantly related species are competing for the same food. So first exception to Darwin concept. Second, Darwin said that Competition occurs when resources are limited. It's not necessary, right? It's not at all necessary. Like for example, it was observed, suppose this is known as competition interference. The exception to second concept of Darwin is known as competition interference. Now, what is this competition interference? This competition interference simply tells that if there are two species, may be closely related, may not be closely related. Now, if out of those two species, one is stronger, another is weaker, okay? So, stronger species is automatically going to somewhere feed on the given resources. The feeding efficiency of the stronger species will be better as compared to the weaker species. And even if the resources are abundant, but weaker species will never get access to these resources. Like for example, in Galapagos Island, along with abandoned tortoise, goats were also introduced. Now, Galapagos Island was rich in greenery. There were lots of greenery. फिर भी tortoise got extinct in the presence of goat. क्यों? Because goat was a stronger species. It was running and eating and just, मतलब suppose this is a piece of land full of greenery, right? Now, if suppose goat is over here along with tortoise, so meanwhile goat will feed on all the trees. Tortoise is so weak. Tortoise walks so slow. Goat will run and eat all the grasses nearby. Meanwhile, when tortoise will come in that region, he will find nothing. Now, meanwhile, when tortoise will again try to move ahead, वहाँ पर भी कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. So, even if resources are abundant, still the stronger species, goat, started interfering in the feeding capacity of tortoise. Now, because of which tortoise had to extinct or had to leave that Galapagos Island. This is known as competition interference. So what is competition interference? Resources need not to be limiting when superior species की presence में, when in the presence of superior species, when in the presence of superior species, the inferior species feeding efficiency decreases. Where in the presence of superior species, the feeding efficiency of inferior species declines, then no matter resources may be abundant, still weaker species will get extinct. The best example is of abandoned tortoise and goat introduced in Galapagos Island. It was observed there was a lot of greenery, there was a lot of food, there was tremendous resources, but still tortoise got extinct due to high feeding efficiency of goat. Now, later on it was observed that suppose the stronger species is eliminated. अब मान लो अगर समय रहते गोट को हटा दिया जाता गैलापागोस से, then tortoise would have again become happy. They would have again flourished. So this is known as competition release. So next is competition release. That is, the number of inferior species was declining in the presence of superior species. So when you remove superior species, automatically the number of inferior species is going to increase. Correct? So when the superior species are eliminated from a region, when the superior species are eliminated from a region, comma, the inferior species flourish. जो inferior species होगी बेटा, comma, it is going to flourish. One example is given of barnacle. A stronger barnacle, when it was removed from the Scotland, then the weaker barnacle, that is Catharmalus, started growing hugely. It is going to flourish. Now, when I just started this competition type of interaction, I told you that it is a negative interaction where both the species are somewhere getting the loss. Then species know कि भाई competition करेंगे तो भले ही जीत जाए, भले ही survival of the fittest हो जाए, but still somewhere we will be at loss. Even if we win, it will not be 100% victory. Somewhere we will also have to bear something in this war. So usually in nature it was found that species try to avoid competition. And it was explained by MacArthur. So another scientist by the name MacArthur. This fellow clarified that species in nature try to avoid competition. Clarified that species in nature tries to avoid competition. How? Maybe by changing their foraging pattern, maybe by changing their reproductive capacity, maybe by changing their feeding efficiency. Like for example, in Galapagos, there were 14 different finches of Darwin who lived happily by simply changing their feeding mechanism. Simply, MacArthur also explained while working on 5 different warblers who started living peacefully on the same tree by changing their foraging pattern. So tries to avoid competition. For example, 5 different species of warbles lived happily on the same tree by avoiding. Now, how do they avoid competition? By changing their foraging pattern. So this much only you have to do for competition, and this is all about this happy, easy-going chapter. Hope you have understood all the competition, all the different types of population interactions. With this, we come to the thorough end of this chapter. Thank you for joining me. See you in the next lecture. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.